Gotham Knights has certainly been a game that I've enjoyed since the initial launch, but it has received its fair amount of criticism, and with developer silence for pretty much the past month or so, I think it's only fair to ask ourselves, have they given up on the game? And also, have the players given up on them? Now today we're going to be talking about the state of the current game in Gotham Knights and also the future of the game. We're going to look at some interesting concurrent player count numbers, which also has me concerned and certainly makes me think I'm really not sure we're ever going to see any more updates, even any more DLC. Let me know in the comments about everything that we talk about in today's video. Are you still playing? Are you waiting for the developers? Do you think that they're ever going to even fix some of the, major issues of the game? Are we going to ever see DLC? Who really knows? But let me know in the comments what you think. So first, let's jump over to the Twitter page and kind of ask ourselves, or at least talk about, has WB Montreal given up on Gotham Knights, given up on the player community, given up on fixing any part of the game? Before the game initially launched, they did tell us that it was not going to be a live service game. Now, a lot of people assumed that that meant there was going to be no DLC. The Heroic Assault DLC was announced before the game even came out. Since release, they have not mentioned, hinted, or even suggested that any DLC content would ever come out for this game. We have made speculation videos on it, and of course with the way the game is structured, I think it is set up perfectly for endless amounts of DLC content if they were to so choose to do so. Now, the only reason why I suggest going through the Twitter page is because that's kind of the only interaction in which we can see, them responding to questions from the community. Now, I am a part of the Gotham Knights Discord page, and on the Discord, they also have developers, with their Discord pages too. They can respond and post to comments on the Discord, but they do not. They do not say anything on there. And if you message any of them, then, well, you get in trouble for it. Or if you at them, you get in trouble for it. Or if, and you can't even send them a message. So there's really no way to contact them. But with the amount of posts that they put out and the amount of responses they give for people that ask these sort of questions, it certainly appears that they have no plans to put out any DLC content. The past couple weeks or months, we have been seeing a lot of posts when it comes to the photo mode. They did just release a post today. Batgirl, put your, pictures out on Batgirl and we will retweet our favorites. But that's almost the only interaction with the community that WB Montreal or whoever runs the Twitter page gives to the community, which to me is pretty sad. They had a Gilded City or Gilded Aged comic book in which gives exclusive gear for Gotham Knights. Now, the latest one that they received or posted was yesterday. This issue actually came out in December. It came out over a week ago. Now, we did have Christmas, which I'm sure they had some days off, and then we had New Year's as well. But I believe it came out I can't remember the exact date, but I want to say it was somewhere around the 26th or something, or maybe it was the 23rd, maybe a couple days before Christmas, or maybe the day after Christmas. I'm not really sure, but it's been out a while and they're just now sending out a post letting everybody know that the issue is finally out. The first two issues, they were certainly on it and posted immediately the day it came out. This one, they did not. Now, the last patch date that we had, which was patch number 4, we've only had 4 patches since this game has been out. The previous patch or the last patch was December 13th or 14th, around that time period, just depending on if you're a console or PC player. This fixed the open world after Heroic Assault came out November 29th. It took them over 2 weeks to update the game to drop level 60 gear in the open world. Now, all they did was just change the drop level. They didn't let any of the players, grind the player profile or your actual Gotham Knight to level 60. They just made the gear drop at level 60, which also caused other problems. Instead of letting us grind our hero to level 60 itself. And so that was certainly a lazy fix when it comes to changing the open world, but that's the last patch that we have received. Now, we've seen also, or we still have all sorts of issues when it comes to Gotham Knights, especially on PC with PC crashes. I constantly get PC crashes. Our gear system and mod system is a complete mess. Drops are completely messed up. Optimization is still terrible. And there's still no, immediate patch in sight. So it makes me think that they don't have plans on fixing anything else. Now let's jump over to Steam charts and look at player counts. Now this is only on PC, this is only on Steam. This information is not as easily available for Xbox and PlayStation. So it's not going to give you a complete 100% picture of everything that's going on. But I think it gives you a rough idea of exactly what is happening. So this is a look at total concurrent players on Steam. And when this initially launched, Gotham Knights, on October 21st, we were sitting roughly at 23,000 players on Steam. Now, how this compares to other games, I will pull up some other games so you can kind of see numbers and something to compare it to. But I think that what's important when we look at this is seeing what happens after the initial launch. Now, there's always going to be a drop off. Every single game in the world is going to experience that. But how quick of a drop off is it? And does it stay, at the bottom when things happen? 1 week after the launch of the game, we're down to 11,335. So we lost over half of the entire player base in one single week on Steam. And then if we were to look 1 month after the game has launched, November 21st, 1,671 players. This is only 7% of the initial concurrent player count when the game first launched. Now, like I said, every single game there's going to be a drop off, but only 7% seems quite a bit drastic. Now, there's obviously quite a few reasons for this. The game was certainly bugged in the beginning. There were a lot of crashes, stability issues, optimization problems. There was a lot of things going on in both the Xbox side and PC side. So they did put out updates to try to fix it, try to stabilize it, try to get player counts back. We also were getting ready to have a Heroic Assault update. Now, when this Heroic Assault update came out in November 29th, I believe it was November 29th, from the 1 month period all the way up to November 29th, the player count did start to rise. We hit, 3,400 back in November 26th, 3,300 on November 29th. But then again, once the Heroic Assault launched, it also caused a bunch of problems in the game, which we did make tons of videos on. And then we started to see a drop off of player counts again. Now we're in December, we're back down at 1,400, 1,300. So even with the Heroic Assault update, which jumped it up to 3,300, which I don't think is very much. I mean, it didn't even, add 1,500 players to come back that already had it. To play the game from the initial, 23,000, that does not seem very good. All right, now let's compare Gotham Knights to a couple other games. Now, I do have Marvel Avengers on here, which has been out since 2020, and I'm going to tell you why we're going to compare it to that in a little bit, besides the obvious that they're the same type of game. But they are in orange all the way at the bottom. We have the green as Gotham Knights. The white is going to be Spider-Man Miles Morales, and blue is going to be the Marvel's Midnight Suns. Now, first thing that I want to compare is player counts after 30 days of the initial launch. Now, way back in 2020, when Marvel Avengers came out, that certainly did not get off to the best of starts, I should say. And it certainly received a lot of criticism, still receives quite a bit of criticism. But after the first 30 days, it started with 28,000 players, which is a little bit higher than Gotham Knights. And it went down to just over 3K players after 30 days. But this ends up being just over 12%. Remember, Gotham Knights after 30 days was only at 7%. And when it did come out on PC after 30 days, Miles Morales was still sitting after 30 days. About 18% of its concurrent players were still playing at the end of 30 days. Of course, there's going to be some that, get it in the middle and then leave in the middle. I'm just referring to the numbers that it starts with on initial launch date to however many concurrent players there are 30 days later. So 18%, which is even better than the other two games. And then we got Marvel's Midnight Suns, which of course is a little bit different, or quite a bit different actually, when it comes to the gameplay and the mechanics of the actual game. I just wanted to compare it to this one, well, because it's a Marvel game, a comic game, a game that probably a lot of people got, or at least some people got that play these other games. And after 30 days, it actually just hit its 30-day mark. It released December 2nd. And after 30 days, Marvel's Midnight Suns was still sitting at 35% of its initial player count. So when you compare it to these three games, the first 30 days, obviously Gotham Knights dropped off more than any of these that we're comparing it to. And even around Christmas time, I think that this is kind of interesting when I look at, the holidays. How many people around the holidays purchased the game? The game's been out. People have been able to read reviews and things like that. And then did people buy it at Christmas? Did they ask for it? Did they get it during Christmas? Well, you can see the white line absolutely skyrocketed. That is Spider-Man Miles Morales. So that game actually did really well during the Christmas time. All the other ones obviously didn't do the greatest. I mean, Spider-Man Miles Morales jumped up to over 6,300, which was even higher than Midnight Suns. When we look at where we're sitting at on January 5th, which is today right now, Marvel's Midnight Suns is still at 4,500. It's obviously the newest game, so it's had less time to drop off. But still, when we compare the month, period, it's done the best. Marvel Avengers is still at 579 players. They've been under 1,000, I think, the entire 2022 year. So that's not surprising either, but Gotham Knights just under 1,400 and then Spider-Man at 3,100. So I think that the important thing to notice when it comes to these numbers is it almost looks like the player base has given up on WB Montreal and the player base has given up on Gotham Knights in general. Would a DLC even help at this point? Sure, I think some players would come back with Batman, if they were to bring Batman in the game. Other DLC, release of maybe a timeline of what is going on in the game, which none of they have, haven't mentioned ever since the launch. So, we obviously have two problems. The developers look like they gave up on Gotham Knights a long time ago. I'm not sure if we're even going to get a patch to fix the things that are even currently still a problem in the game, which is super frustrating. And I think a lot of players at this point have given up on Gotham Knights and just said, you know what, I'm not even going to bother playing it until maybe these things get fixed. I've completed everything already. There's no DLC coming, so there's really not a point to play it anymore. Of course, all of this is just speculation. I could be wrong. Maybe they will fix it. Maybe we'll get some DLC. Who really knows? At least this is just what I think going forward as of the state of the game for Gotham Knights right now. It seems like it's in a bad place. I personally enjoy the game. I do. I really like it. But there are so many issues with the game that are very frustrating. And the fact that we have no developer communication and the fact that it doesn't appear we're getting any more DLC can make the game very bland and very stale and very frustrating to play for a lot of players. But either way, let me know in the comments what you think about any of this stuff that we talk about. I still want to be hopeful, but to be honest, doesn't seem like anything is coming, which is very, very sad. I'll see y'all next time. Y'all take it easy. We're out. Peace.